G'day there, Saints fans. It's Jayden here. You know what time of the week it is. It is OPPO View Time, where we sit down, we discuss, we dissect the upcoming game against this week's opponent, which is the Brisbane Lions. It feels like it was only a couple of weeks ago since we were up in Queensland at the Gabba on a Friday night, where I think we played one of our better games of the year, albeit coming away with a loss. But I think ever since that game, we've turned it around. Our form-wise, our pressure on the ball, our linking transition play, players are getting more impactful. Look at Sinks, Naz, those type of players, and those sort of things. So let's have a look. Brisbane beating some really good form. They're the form team of the competition, barring Hawthorn. But if you look at the rounds 12 to 20 summary, they are at 8-0, and they're marching their way towards possibly another grand final berth this year. I want to sort of go through what sort of worked for us last time, what we need to stop for them. Their midfield's class, their forward line's so damaging. Their back line at the moment is a little bit of a concern, which is really beneficial for us because our forward line's probably been the best it's been for 2 or 3 years the last couple of weeks. So I thought last week, especially against Essendon, our forward like cohesion, our movement, our ball movement in our transition was 100 times better than what it's ever been. And if we can do that against a depleted Brisbane Lions side, especially in their back line, then that can go a long way to hopefully getting the 4 points. As I mentioned, their midfield's class. They got absolute class all over the ground. But Lachie Neale possibly on his way to a third Brownlow medal. Berry in the middle, Josh Dunkley, Oscar McInerney, who I thought we held really, really well last time out. So it's a possible, not inclusion, but possible watch that either Campbell or Max Heath may come in. Rosebean is a really, really good form, but the two ruckman tandem that we had against Brisbane in the Gabba worked really, really well. So whether that's another ploy, we try and stop Oscar's big influence that he can have, not only tap work, but around the ground, his intercept marking. He's got the capabilities of going forward and kicking a snag as well. Roy will definitely have his work cut out. Midfield, as I said, Neil, Berry, Cam Rayner's been in some really good form, and he's someone who always, doesn't matter how well or how bad he's performing throughout a calendar or a season, he always seems to play really well against us. The last game that we had, he kicked 2 or 3 goals in the first quarter, had some really good marks. His impact, he's an X-Factor type player. He's not going to get you 30 touches, but he's good enough to get you the 15 to 20, to kick 2 or 3 goals, take a hanger or two, but really cause a worry for the defence. And once you start getting him involved, Zach Bailey, Lincoln McCarthy, I think might be injured at the moment. Charlie Cameron's been down on form, but all it takes is a 5-minute patch for him and he's back on, kicking goals from left, right and centre. They've got 3 forward damaging smalls already, and then you add in Hipwood and Danaher. Their forward line's really, really dangerous and can be really, really effective. So that's a concern for our back line, which our defence has been pretty solid this year. Defensively, off the half back line, Zorko had a field day against us last time. I think Butler will possibly go to him, looking at key matchups. To minimise his output, he's been slick off the half-back line this year, possibly even in the All-Australian squad. His ball use, his IQ, his leadership. And then you add in, Darcy Wilmot. I think it's Wilmot, if I pronounce that right. He's been having some really good games, much like Zorko on the other side. They've got some pace with McKenna and Brandon Starcevich. And then they've got the big key tool in Harris Andrews, who should be coming back after concussion, who he doesn't like to play on the big guys. At the moment, we don't really have a big forward, which probably doesn't suit him as much because he's going to be, in no man's land in a little bit. But his positioning, he's sort of like Wilkie. Positioning and IQ is so damn effective that his actual, speed and acceleration gets underrated in a way, or not unnoticed, because of where he positions himself. He's very good at knowing not where the ball is, but where the ball is going to go, and positions himself and his teammates in the right positions to intercept and then counter-attack on the other end. Another player I didn't touch on, but I wanted to put a mention to, is Hugh McCluggage. He showed us last time why we were so heavily invested in possibly getting him back into Victoria. I think he had 2 or 3 costly turnovers or forced turnovers against us, and then he went down and actually kicked the goal himself. I think he kicked 2 or 3 on the night. He had 25, 30 touches. His ball use is clean. He's one of the best players in the AFL. Contrary to what all media people say, when he's fit and firing, he's a dangerous wingman / outside midfielder that can really hurt us going forward. So, saying that, as I mentioned, I think Butler to Zorko is going to be a massive one. Butler hasn't hit the scoreboard as much, but his pressure's been really excellent. So I really wanted to focus on that and really limit Zorko's output. We can limit their transition out of defence. We lock it in, much like we did against Essendon. We've got a real strong possibility of snagging 4 or 5, 6 goals from turnovers, and then that's not even counting our centre clearances and those sort of things. So. And our forte at the moment and the way we've been winning is being transitioning off the half-back line through the middle with Naz, Sinks, Brad Hill, those types of players. So massive watch on Zorko. Another one's Lachie Neale. I love Steele to go to him, not from a tagging point of view, but just contest work. I thought Jack Steele had his best game of the year last week. Not only was his midfield work really well, but his two-way running and the ability to push forward and really, not only bring the pressure, but then hit the scoreboard by doing that. That's a difference maker there. We speak about, captains, pulling their weight and really showing and lifting their team. That's what he did last week. So if he can do that again by going up against arguably the best midfielder in the comp, then that's going to go a long way. Wilkie, Danaher has to be done. Or possibly, and I say this, maybe battle Danaher to match his aerobic and around the ground forward or around the ground pressure. He likes to push up and get some, not cheap disposals, but get hands on the ball. But then when he comes back to Wilkie to be the third man through, and then the big one in the middle, and it was a massive key matchup last time. It's Rowe and Oscar. Rowe's been in some absolutely amazing form. He loves to get forward and really put pressure on the other ruckman. Oscar likes to do the same thing. So it's going to be a really good tussle between those two to be able to see who can get the chocolates and contribute to their team winning. But it's going to be a cracking game, 4:40, Sunday afternoon at Marvel Stadium. Get down there, support the boys. The form's turning. Let's get, a little bit of a springboard into 2025, and we'll see you there. And as always, go your Saints.